Welcome to today's VC Task Force Gary's Picks for Investors and Startups. My name is Joel Rosenberg, Director of Business Development for VC Task Force. VC Task Force is an organization where the venture community comes together to address critical issues and host workshops and other events for the benefit of the venture and entrepreneurial communities. You may ask questions during the event, and time permitting, they will be answered live after today's interview. It is my pleasure to welcome Gary's Picks host, Gary Fowler. Gary is CEO and co-founder of GSD Venture Studios, an award-winning growth stage AI venture studio. Gary is also co-founder of the award-winning AI startup Yva.ai, as well as the investment firm DY Investments. Today, Gary will be interviewing our special guest, Kate Bazilevskaya, CEO and founder of Setka, a company focused on enabling interactive content with no coding required. Kate is deeply passionate about content and communications, their ability to educate, inspire, create shared meaning, and empower communities. She also believes in transformative power of excellent content design. Kate has been working in the branded content space for over 15 years. Kate's journey started in advertising communication strategy, which led her to launch and successfully grow a mission-driven lifestyle media startup serving millions of readers monthly in 5 countries. During that time, she's won over 60 advertising awards. As co-founder and CEO at Setka, Kate is on a mission to make it easier for anyone to design incredible content experiences at scale. It is a mission Setka shares with their partners, Google, Microsoft, HubSpot, Adobe, and many others. Take it away, Gary.
Thank you, Joel. It's great to be here. And I thank the entire VC Task Force team for making Gary's Picks possible. And it's great. It's my honor to have Kate here. Kate, I got to practice your name. This is really tough. Bazilevskaya?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Wow, I got it. Can you believe that? My wife would be proud of me. It was hard enough for me to get her name down. So it's great to have you here. So you have an incredible company. And, one of my friends said, this is Canva for blogs. So, just tell us a little bit about it. What's it been like? Tell us a little about your entrepreneurial journey, a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Gary, for having me. I'm really excited to be here. So yeah, just as mentioned, I've started off originally in communication strategy. I led a boutique advertising agency, still being in the university. Then I met my co-founders, and when we were around 22 years old, we founded our first startup. We grew it from scratch, from grounds up, and it became one of the leading digital publishing houses with more than 11 million unique users per month, and spanned to 5 countries over time. And that's how we started producing a lot of content at scale with tons of people on the team, producing branded content too for over 900 world's leading brands, and winning all that awards for that, including like Webbies and Cannes Lions. And that where we've actually discovered that it's a huge challenge to produce great content at scale. And that's how we've started thinking about the concept to optimize that. And that's how, Setka appeared as a concept originally. So Setka is a pluggable content experience design platform that helps brands to design their web and application content as easy as Canva does that for static design assets and documents. It reduces coding time, reduces all the costs associated with the production, helps to elevate content design, engagement, and conversion. And as mentioned, we partner with many leading platforms out there because it's pluggable. It connects with any CMS platform, any e-commerce platform, including like WordPress, Drupal, Goss, HubSpot, SharePoint, Magento, and many more. And it works with headless setups and API first setups and modern front ends too. So that's the brief summary of that.
Wow, that's great. Wow, that's amazing. And you have some incredible customers too. I understand you've got, eBay and L'Oreal. I mean, and Inc. What's up with Inc? I mean, that's the first time I've heard of anybody having a Inc. Can you talk about it?
Yeah, sure. So our customers have various, they come from various fields. We work with D2C and e-commerce brands who are looking for easier solutions to produce e-commerce content at scale, both content marketing assets and their product description pages and landing pages and campaigns within e-commerce platforms. We also work with publishers, as you just mentioned, Inc. and many more other publishers who are producing editorial content, branded content, native campaigns, and it makes it easy for them to do that without actually altering the entire platform, doing that in the platform they already use, like, for instance, WordPress or Drupal. And then we also work with B2B brands who are focused on lead generation with content. Could be a thought leadership piece, a white paper that is digital and downloadable at the same time. So all that use cases that are very relevant right now when we all work remote and in a distributed way, when we need more touch points with our customers. That is where content.
So tell me a little bit about it. So you're saying like you're doing this content and this is a great time with everybody, many of the people being home and working remotely because of COVID, but directly. So what would the company benefit? So let's say, this Procter & Gamble comes up to you and they say, Kate, we're interested in becoming a client. What would they benefit? What kind of benefits would they get out of it? And what does it mean to the bottom line? So from your own personal perspective.
Yeah, that's a great question. So on one hand, there is a huge trend right now that, that everybody call no code. That means that we want to have much more employees with various backgrounds to be included in processes that have been designed for engineers prior to that, so that we can save a lot of engineering hours and make sure that engineering efforts that are scarce would be focusing on more important matters that that probably are more of a priority for specifically engineers. So that's why what we are trying to deliver is that you get a lot of efficiency from including more team members in not only the content creation process and content design process, but also content publishing process and CMS customization process. Because usually when you customize your layout, your style, your fonts, all of that, you have to still apply some coding to that. With no coding environment, with a lot of reusability, with a popular design systems approach where you are trying and testing patterns and then applying them at scale, you can reach a lot of efficiencies and scale those efficiencies. That's one part of it. But then the ultimate goal is not just the cost cutting, is the user experience, the customer experience with the content. And when it comes to customer experience with content, we have to optimize everything. It has to be beautiful. It has to be interactive. And it also has to load fast and be delivered in all these various channels and touch points. And this has to be solved with engineering. And what we are trying to do is to combine the no-code experience, the flexibility to deliver great design with great engineering features that would enable content to be optimized for fast loading. So ultimately, it will deliver great customer experience too, and improve the engagement and conversion. So it's both for the cost cutting and for revenue driving metrics.
And this sounds like it's pretty sophisticated. You must have a pretty in-depth team that helps. I mean, one of your co-founders is an engineer, or yourself, or how did you come up with it?
Oh, yeah. So we have a great team. We have many great engineers on board. We've actually, our founders are have extensive both engineering and product background, and we've actually worked together for several years, even prior we founded Setka. And our partnerships, they all indicate that the quality of the engineering behind Setka is pretty good, because we've passed all this enterprise level partnership reviews with Microsoft, with WordPress VIP. We are a featured WordPress VIP technology partner. So we care deeply about both user-facing and engineering features, because it's a pluggable tool that has to work with any platform and render everywhere.
So if you would look at, today, who would be your perfect customer? So you're saying in the world painted, what kind of group or who would be it? So we have a lot of listeners that come in from all walks of life, from venture capitalists to top consumer products companies to publishing places. Who would it be? And, what would they be looking for from your perspective?
Yeah, so I think that our perfect customer is either a consumer-facing company that is highly invested in e-commerce, either it's a part of digital transformation from brick and mortar, or it's a digital-first brand, direct-to-consumer brand, or a B2B company that leverages e-commerce for B2B sales, for lead generation. So it's any tech startup. I hope many tech startups are listening to us right now. So yeah, that's one of them.
Startups, listen here. Kate's got a solution. And what would have happened for them, Kate? What would you do for them? Let's say a tech startup comes in. What would an engagement look like with them? How would you work together?
So they can work currently with any CMS platform. We would be compatible with that. It could be their own proprietary product platform if they do content within the platform of the product itself, or any popular platform. We would enable their team to quickly set up all the branded styles. It takes 30 minutes, and then create all the reusable components.
Only 30 minutes, Kate.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy. It's a no-code experience, and then they can start, building content for all the popular use cases, like blogs, thought leadership, like case studies, web pages, white papers. I really like this part where you can create digital ebooks that would be interactive and mobile friendly, and at the same time produce a PDF from the digital version, so you can have a downloadable content too. So engagement is pretty fast because the platform is already designed to be customized in no coding way. And then it can integrate anywhere.
Wow, that's great. And is it expensive? How is it so startups come in, is it expensive for them to do this, or how do they get pricing from you to figure out what the pricing is?
Yeah, so we have different tiers, and we have a pricing tier that is specifically tailored for mid-market customers, including hyper-growth startups that could be on the path, highly invested in digital marketing. So it's around $500 per month, though the value you get with that in terms of the cost you're cutting and efficiencies you're gaining is getting you really high ROI on that investment.
Well, so if it takes I'm curious about this. So if it takes 30 minutes on your platform, to get them set up, how much time would they save over what they're doing today? What kind of an impact would it have on that particular company? So if they were to exactly do that, they're putting the blogs out, they're updating their pages. I mean, how much time does it save? What percent of the time is it? Is it 60%, 80? I mean, what's it look like? 30, 20?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would start with the time, but I would like to return to how much it will earn in terms of better, engagement and conversion, because I think this is an even more important goal here. But in terms of the time, so it can eliminate any custom coding. So again, you can still, the platform is really flexible, so you can also add some coding on top of it. But the goal is to eliminate custom coding while still being able to deliver interactions and customization and flexibility of the layout there. So and then in terms of the business, revenue metrics, it would be important to know that if you see a high bounce rate with your organic or paid traffic, because we are all invested in lead generation and paid promotions, and sometimes we tend to forget that to get somebody click this paid or organic link is just a first step. And the real challenge is how we engage the visitor long enough to get them to convert, to get them to understand, especially a complicated technology or product that needs explanation, and it takes time to decide whether they want to engage with the company or with the salesperson. So we have a lot of customers who are dramatically optimizing their bounce rates, cutting their bounce rate in half or more, and increasing their session durations. And it's all about better design, ultimately better information design that you can deliver much easier with this technology.
So if you look at, where do you see Setka? What are your goals for Setka over the next, year, 5 years? I mean, where do you see your position in the market? Because this sounds really cool. This is really cool stuff. I like it that it's not only easier, but you're actually saving them a lot of money. Because there's two things. I mean, think about the early times with even, Microsoft, right? It used to be, you had to be almost a programmer to be able to run some of these tools. Now they're easy to use. And it sounds like you're doing the same thing for a problem that exists, is how do I get that content out? And now with the digital transformation, 62% increase in data every year. So, we're being forced to push more out at the same time. So it's extremely interesting. But where do you see yourselves, in a year, 3 years, 5 years? Where do you want to be?
Yes, it's a great question. And one part of the answer is that we see a lot of potential in how we can further optimize the content design process leveraging machine learning, because on the surface, Setka is a no-code tool, but under the hood, we have a data model that enables us to store the content as a granular structure of components. And these components could be accessed in a programmatic way. And we see a lot of potential, and that's what we built for as well, in optimizing content design with AI augmentation and maybe semi-automation and further development in this area. This could cut the costs even further, but still make sure that it would be a process with humans involved and a natural partnership. And then on the other side, we tend to have this ecosystem thinking. We think that today's world of APIs and integrations is much stronger when we work together. And that's why we feel that Setka could be, a solution that could integrate with all the platforms, many different tools that are compatible to empower content creators, so they don't have to worry about, integrations and delivering this experience as a layer on top of other technologies, or, in combination with other technologies.
That's great. You don't have to be a programmer anymore. You can do it. So it's really to spread it out, so a lot of people within an organization can do the job, which I love. And it makes it much more efficient, and could be lower cost for the companies, right? Because they got a lot more content for it. I'm sure you have KPMG as one of your customers, and we talk a lot to PwC and Deloitte, E&Y. But how does the relationship work with one of the consulting companies? How would they engage you? And we deal with a lot of smaller consulting companies also. How would they engage you? So they say, Kate, I'm very interested. So are they a customer, or are they partnering with you to help sell it? How does it work?
So in this case, they are a customer, and most of the consulting companies are amazing content creators. They have a lot of great content, a lot of white papers, and currently, I don't think that all of this content is fully accessible or easily accessible. Lots of it is still in like PDFs, and it's hard to search for it. You don't get like a good mobile experience. And on the other hand, it's like great content. So it would be amazing if we have more of that content delivered in a more consumable and easy to access way. Though we also partner with different agencies and consultants and engineers as a part of our partnership platform. So it's kind of, so with KPMG, it's more like a customer relationship than a partnership, but we do partner with agencies and consultants as partners. So they can leverage Setka for their customers, or we can co-market together when it makes sense.
And if you look at it in terms of resellers, who are you looking at? Who could be a great partner for you? If you say, the top 3, who could be interesting for you?
I would say that we already have great partnerships in this area. So for instance, we were just recently approved as a co-sell partner with Microsoft, and we are going further with this partnership. And it's not a reseller relationship, it's more like a co-sell relationship. And I feel like this is a much more powerful strategy for us because it enables us to have a shared insight and shared benefits from that partnership. And in terms of reselling, we are a part of different marketplaces, and this is more like it's less a reseller relationship that requires sales force. It's more like distribution, but in a way, it's still kind of like a reselling referral relationship.
Great. So you're partners with Salesforce.
Yeah, we are not yet a part of Marketplace, but we have an integration through another integration, and we're hopefully going to get to the Marketplace also very soon. So we partner with storefronts that are compatible.
Wow, great. Congratulations. That's a great, that's fantastic. Well, it sounds like you're doing the right kind of thing. So what in terms of, are you looking at raising any money? I mean, where are you in terms of money raising? Are you looking at doing any rounds? How does that look? We have a lot of VCs that listen to us.
Yeah, so we are, yeah. So, yeah, so we are raising a seed round currently, and we aim to ramp up our sales and inbound marketing to scale the company because it has so much potential and so many more areas to develop in terms of new integrations and further building the parts of the product that I mentioned as our kind of next frontier, AI augmentation and real-time design features as a part of our collaboration feature set.
Ah, that's great. So, you said you started one of your companies while you were in university, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So we have a lot of startups that tune in. So what kind of advice, what are some of the lessons that you've learned, Kate, in terms of doing startups? What are so if you give them some tips, because they listen from all over the world and they're looking. So what are Kate's tips of what are the things to avoid and the things to really go after?
I think that the biggest learning I got, and this is something that we are constantly looking in, not just in partners, but actually in every employee that we want to have on the team, is this tolerance to uncertainty and change. Because I think that this is the biggest difference between a startup and a more mature, a more well-structured organization. Though we get a lot of uncertainty even with everything around us, but in a startup you have to be always open to changing, experimenting, and having no plan to solve this particular challenge that you came across just now. And it has to be something you are comfortable with. And at first it could be challenging, but this is the only way. And I think that, my advice would be to embrace it and to train it as a superpower.
Oh, I like that. Train it as a superpower. Do you hear that? It's a superpower. That's great. So what you're saying is that it comes and you've just got to accept it. So, and understand that that's part of a startup's existence.
And a superpower, because it makes
Oh.
you stronger for sure.
I'm waiting for you to fly off the chair there. That's great.
Yeah.
That's super. Yeah. And you started. So how long have you had the company? How long have you been in business?
With Setka?
Yeah.
So it's like 3.5 years for now, but we've from the very, very beginning, when we had no product.
Well, it sounds like you've done a really good job. I mean, you've got sales, you've got a substantial amount of sales, you've got patents, 3 patents pending from what I understand. And, you've got 60, I got to tell you, Kate, I've never heard of anybody that's got 60 awards. That's Webby's and all that. And that was your company? You founded that company doing the awards, or were you part of another company?
Yeah, it was all within my company and my team. So yeah, I'm really proud of our team and us winning all of that. I think it's very important for creative teams to be recognized, have this opportunity to share their projects with a broader community internationally, because it's important to get this support and recognition for creatives, especially, and for marketers.
Well, you've done an amazing job. I love what you have. This is great, and I really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule to join us. So can you tell the folks, the listeners, how they can get a hold of, and the viewers, how they can get a hold of you? What's the best way to get a hold of you? How can they find Kate?
So I think that the best way to reach me is either like a LinkedIn message or an email. So it's kate@setka, setka.io, and you can use my first name and you can skip my last name, which might look a little scary and long. So I have to deal with that.
No, Joel, it's not that scary. I did it, but it was hard.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry if I butchered it a little bit in the beginning there, but
hey, I got to tell you, with my wife, when I met my wife, I couldn't pronounce her name either. Her last name, her first name, I was okay. Kathy is not too bad.
Hopefully hopefully you've improved a bit there now, Gary.
Oh yeah, no, I understand. Listen, I really appreciate your time. So they understand LinkedIn, venture capitalists that are interested, partners that are interested in partnering with you, consumer products companies, anybody that's got incredible amount of content and needs to get it out fast in the right kind of way. The Canva for blogs. Great to have you today. And I'd like to thank VC Task Force to taking time out of their busy schedules to make Gary's Picks possible. We'll be here in another 2 weeks, and we look forward to having you tune in again. We'll be sending out an announcement on our next show shortly. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great day. And thanks everybody. It's appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Kate. It was wonderful and really a very enlightening and very empowering platform that you have there. It's very exciting, and I'm sure our listeners will also be equally excited. So we will see everybody back here in 2 weeks on the 25th of November. That's the day before Thanksgiving, and Gary will be interviewing the CEO and founder of Somin.ai. So that should be another exciting event. So again, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.